Chapter 2, the chapter on the span of the Tathagata's life. Furthermore, at that time, during that period in the great city of Rajagriha, there dwelt the Bodhisattva, the great being Ketu, who venerated previous Buddhas, cultivated roots of virtue, and rendered service to many hundreds of thousands of millions of Buddhas. He thought to himself, what cause and what condition will cause the Lord Shakyamuni to live for only 80 years? That is such a short time. Furthermore, he thought, the Lord has himself declared there are two causes and two conditions which prolong life. What are the two? They are namely renouncing killing and giving food wholly. As for the Lord Shakyamuni, he renounced killing for many incalculable hundreds of thousands of millions of eons. He perfectly adhered to the paths of the 10 virtuous actions. He gave away food and external and internal objects completely. Not only that, he satisfied hungry living beings with the flesh, blood, bone, and marrow of his own body. Then, while the Sublime being entertained such thoughts with regards to the Tathagata, his house transformed into a vast and expansive palace made of lapis lazuli, embellished with numerous divine jewels, its colors transformed by the Tathagata, and filled with perfumes surrounding those of gods. In the 4 directions emerged 4 thrones made of divine jewels. These thrones came to be covered with mats of divine jewels and fine cotton remnant. And on those thrones appeared divine lotuses adorned with numerous jewels, their color transformed by the Tathagata. For those lotuses arose 4 transcendent victor Buddhas. In the east appeared the Tathagata Akshobhya. In the south appeared the Tathagata Ratnaketu. In the west appeared the Tathagata Amateus. In the north appeared the Tathagata Dundishvara. When those Tathagatas appeared on those lion thrones, the great city of Rajagriha was filled with bright light. That light pervaded all triple thousand great thousand world systems. In the 10 directions and world systems, as many as the grains of sand in the Ganges rivers. In addition, divine flowers rained down and divine music resounded. Through the power of the Buddha, all sentient beings in the triple thousand great world too became possessed of the joys of gods. Beings whose senses were incomplete became possessed of complete senses. Beings blind from birth saw forms with their eyes. Deaf beings heard sounds with their ears. Insane beings regained their sanity. Distracted beings became focused. Naked beings became clothed in garments. Hungry beings became full-bellied. Thirsty beings were quenched. Beings afflicted with illness became free of disease. Beings whose bodily organs were defective became possessed of complete organs. Many astounding events took place in the world. Upon seeing those Buddhas, the Bodhisattva Ketu was greatly astounded. He was satiated, pleased, joyful, and delighted. Feeling happy and ecstatic, with hands folded in the direction of the Tathagatas, he bowed in homage, remembering those Tathagatas. Then reflecting on the qualities of the Tathagata Shakyamuni Buddha, he was vexed with misgivings about the lifespan of the Tathagata Shakyamuni Buddha. He wondered, how is it that the Lord Shakyamuni will live a brief life of only 80 years? Those Tathagatas, while knowing and realizing his thoughts, spoke to him thus, O child of noble family, do not think the Lord Shakyamuni will have such a short lifespan. Why? Because, O child of noble family, except for the perfectly and fully enlightened conqueror Tathagatas, we do not see among the gods, the world of gods, Maras, or Brahma, among the ascetics or Brahmins, gods, humans, or Suras, anyone who could perceive the furthest reaches of the lifespan of the Tathagata, Lord Shakyamuni. As soon as those Tathagatas expressed this observation on the lifespan of the Tathagata Shakyamuni Buddha, then by the power of the Tathagata, the gods residing in the desire and form realms, including the Nagas, Yakshas, Gandharvas, Asuras, Garudas, Kinyaras, and the Maharagas, as well as numerous hundreds of thousands of millions of bodhisattvas, gathered and went to the house of the bodhisattva of Exalted. Then through the Tathagata, then those Tathagatas proclaimed in verse this explanation of the lifespan of the Tathagata, Shakyamuni, to the entire gathering. The drops of water in all the oceans can be measured, but no one can measure the lifespan of Shakyamuni. To the finest particles, the atom, of Mount Sumeru can be gauged, but no one can gauge the lifespan of Shakyamuni. The number of finest particles existing on this earth can be measured, but not the span of the conqueror's life. Although through some device one may wish to measure space, no one can measure the lifespan of Shakyamuni. The number cannot be found that explains the fully enlightened Buddha lives this long, this many eons in eon terms, such as 100 million eons. There are two causes and two conditions for this: renouncing deadly violence and repeatedly giving plentiful food. The finite count of the lifespan of this great being that explains he will live this many eons cannot be found. The eons are indeed uncountable. Hence, have no doubt, not even the slightest doubt, the finite limit of the conqueror's life is not observed anywhere. Then, at that time, in that assembly, the Brahmin teacher and expounder called Kundinya, along with numerous thousands of Brahmin, venerated the Tathagata. On hearing the voice of those great Tathagatas, completely gone beyond sorrow, they gathered in that place at once, bowing at the feet of the Tathagata. The Brahmin teacher and expounder, Kundinya, said to the Tathagata, "If the Lord, transcendent victor, is merciful to all living beings, compassionate, desirous of serving all, apparent to all, equal to the unequal, illuminating like the moon, wisdom and knowledge glowing like the sun, if you look upon all beings as upon your son Rahu, then please give me some guidance." The Tathagata remained silent. Then, through the power of the Tathagata, in that assembly, a confidence grew in the Lakavi youth called Sarvalo Kapraya Darshana, and he spoke thus to the Brahmin teacher and expounder Kundinya. "Why do you seek guidance, great Brahmin, from the Buddha? I will give you the guidance you seek." The Brahmin said, "For the sake of honoring the Buddha, Lakavi youth, for the sake of receiving a share of relic powder, I wish to have a relic of the Buddha the size of a mustard seed. It is said that if one honors a relic the size of a mustard seed, one attains lordship of the gods of the 33. Listen, O Lakavi youth, to the King of Glorious Sutra, the Sublime Golden Light, which has features and qualities such as being difficult for all Shravakas and Pratyakas to know and to comprehend. O Lakavi youth, the Sutra of Sublime Golden Light is in this way difficult to know, difficult to comprehend. Hence, we Brahmins of remote areas wish to have a relic the size of a mustard seed, which when held, either placed in a bowl or kept on the body, causes living beings to attain lordship over the gods of the 33. Why wouldn't you, O Lakavi youth, wish to receive a relic the size of a mustard seed from the Tathagata, and keep it in the urn so that living beings may attain lordship over the gods of the 33? O Lakavi youth, I seek such a boon." Then Sarvalo Darshana, the Lakavi youth, replied in verse to the Brahmin teacher and expounder Kundinya. "When white lilies grow in the Ganges' swift current, when crows become red and cuckoos turn the color of conch, when palm fruit grow on rose apple trees, and on date trees mangoes form, at that time a relic the size of a mustard seed will appear. When from tortoise hair clothes shielding winter's bite can be woven well, then there will be a relic. When from the legs of gnats, multi-story towers can be well built, solidly firm and never shaking, then there will be a relic. When all leeches grow white teeth, sharp and big, then there will be a relic. When from the horns of rabbits ladders can be built well in order to climb high, then there will be a relic. Climbing this ladder, should a mouse eat the moon and harm Ahu as well, then there will be a relic. When bees that buzz in town drink a pitcher of wine and make dwellings in a house, then there will be a relic. When donkeys become happy, well versed in singing and dancing, their lips ruddy like the bimba fruit, then there will be a relic. When owls and crows flock to solitude, frolic together, and become friendly, then there will be a relic. When the leaves of the palasha tree become an umbrella made of the 3 jewels that keep off the rain, then there will be a relic. When large ocean vessels fitted with turning devices and sails float and set sail on land, then there will be a relic. When owls move freely, lifting Gandhamandana mountains, then in their beaks, then there will be a relic. After hearing these verses, the Brahmin teacher, the expounder Kundinya, replied to Sarvalaka Prayadashana, the Lakavi youth. Excellent, excellent, supreme youth. The son of Buddha, great orator, heroic and skillful in means, you have received the sublime prophecy. Listen to me, O Lakavi, O youth, concerning the inconceivable greatness of Tathagata, the protector and savior of the world. The realms of the Buddha is inconceivable, and the Tathagatas are peerless. All Buddhas are ever serene. All Buddhas are perfectly emerged. All Buddhas are of the same hue. This is the suchness of Buddhas. The Lord transcendent victor is uncontrived. The Tathagata is unborn. His body, hard as a vajra, manifests emanated forms. Thus no relic small as a mustard seed of the great sage is to be found, since his body is without bone and blood. How can there be a relic? Yet to benefit living beings, skillfully relics are formed. Dharmakaya, the complete Buddha, Dharmadhatu, the Tathagata, akin to the deeds of the teaching of the Dharma. These are the bodies of the Lord. Because I heard and knew this, I sought the sublime gift, to make this truth plain and clear. Thus I initiated this discourse. Then, having heard such a profound explanation of the Tathagata's span of life, all 32,000 sons of God generated altruistic resolve for the peerless and perfect enlightenment. Their minds filled with intense joy, they spoke these verses in a single voice. The Buddha does not enter complete nirvana, neither does the Dharma cease to be. Yet for the ripening of beings, Tathagatas manifests passing beyond suffering. Transcendent Victor Buddha is inconceivable. Though the Tathagata's body is permanent, it pervades a multitude of forms for the welfare of sentient beings. Having heard these discourse explained the lifespan of the Tathagata Shakyamuni Buddha from the Tathagatas and the 2 great beings in Bodhisattva Chittaketu, as thoroughly having heard these discourses explaining the lifespan of the Tathagata Shakyamuni Buddhas from these Tathagatas and the 2 great beings, the Bodhisattva Chittaketu was thoroughly satiated, pleased, extremely delighted, and filled with joy. He was overwhelmed with great bliss of mind. While this discourse on the Tathagata's span of life was being given, inconceivable countless sentient beings generated altruistic resolve for peerless and perfect enlightenment. Then those Tathagatas vanished in that very spot. This ends the 2nd chapter, the chapter in the span of the Tathagata's life from the King of Glorious Sutra, the Sublime Golden Light.